right, good afternoon, everyone. Let's go ahead and get our Airport Commission meeting called to order. Roll call, please.
Greg Collier,
Here.
Cameron McCarron,
Here.
Steve Smith,
Here.
Jim Ulmer, Joe Gardner, Micah Thomason,
Here.
Mike Goff.
Here. All right. Great place to meet. So first she's not here, but I wanted to thank our restaurant owner for feeding us today. That was good. So as commissioners, be sure and spread the word when she opens up to come see her. And I want to thank Daniel and Summit, Mark and Summit, for letting us meet here today and see the new digs. Maybe after the meeting, you could show us around and show us some of the new things that we've got here too. If we take a little pause in between, it's because a aircraft is going by and you may not be able to hear me. So we'll do our best based off of that. So first of all, looking for approval of the minutes. Has everyone had a chance to review those from last month? Any questions?
I'll just make a motion we approve the minutes.
Motion on the floor
I'll second it.
with a second. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Comments from the audience. Do we have anyone here to present to the commission? James, would you like to introduce Austin?
Yes, sir. We have a new airport manager, Austin Bursey. He's worked with the city now for quite a few years. He's been in my sign shop for a number of years, so he's now our airport manager and doing a great job.
Awesome. He's always done a great job when I've been around him, so I look forward to working with you here. If you need anything, we're here for you. All right. Daniel. Summit.
Our numbers, you can see that we had a huge decrease in jet sales last month. That corresponded directly to the amount of weather that we got last month. It just rained, and we just slowed down quite a bit. Now, at the end of the month, after everything kind of stopped happening, or piston stuff, it did increase. So, kind of taking advantage of the weather, and we got real busy with that, which was great to see. But we're already up compared to last month. At this time last month on jet sales, so if that recovery, kind of those average numbers, that average overall increase, we'll start to see that again pretty soon. A couple things. So last month, I told you we were starting to work on our Halloween event again this year. So we're exploring that idea more. We've met with Cameron and some of his crew. They're helping us out a little bit more this year. Playing with different ideas that we want to do. I've explored our air show idea with Matt Yunkin, trying to get him here. That's a real gray area. Basically, what I've got now after talking to the FAA is it's not impossible, but I'm not going to say it's possible. So we're having a conversation with an air boss. Talking to Matt, he said he can do a non-aerobatic display, which would still be really impressive, but at the cost for having him for the weekend it would be. I don't think it's quite justifiable. You just don't get that wow factor. You don't get the bang for your buck, essentially. And that's what we would really want for something like this. So that would probably end up going away, unfortunately. Having said that, I have made contact with a large group of guys that do car shows all around Northwest Arkansas and Oklahoma pretty often, monthly. They want to do a show out here. We want to collaborate with them to do it at the same time as the Halloween event. Thinking about the Halloween event on its own, one of the things we're going to need to do is if we start hearing more from the military, that feels more likely that they're going to be here, especially if they're going to be here July, August, September. I'm going to start having conversations with those guys when they start making contact with us about our plans for this event so that we coordinate appropriately for safety, see if we can get them involved as well. I think it'd be a great recruiting opportunity for those guys. Passing that on to them. Working with them, making sure that they're happy with exactly what we're lining out and what our expectations are for the event. Like I said, if we get, and we had about 2,000 people at that last event, if we get 4,000 this time, it's big. It's a big ambition, but I think we can do it. That's a big security concern. So those conversations will need to happen, and we'll just keep kind of talking about those as we get the chance to do that. Talking to PD, talking to EMS, to make sure we've got plenty of safety and first aid available for the event as well. Now, after we talked about the car show, the same group that we're working with for this Halloween event, one of the girls that I'm working with does a lot of running. She said, "Well, what if we do a fun run?" We play with that today. So I think we might do a separate event that's actually we would like to do a fun run up at Oshkosh every year. They have a 5K fun run down the runway. Want me to wait? It's allowed. Back in 10 minutes.
All right.
Now, if you start
Say 5K up and down the runway?
yeah. So yeah, what is that? 186. That's that main runway, that big long runway up at Oshkosh. Before they open up the airspace for inbounds for the day, I think on a Wednesday or Thursday they do a 5K fun run, and it just everybody that wants to join them, they just all line up. That runway is 150 feet wide, so it's just a big old group of people, like 1,000 people, just running up and down this runway till they get to 5K, and it's really neat. So I kind of took that, took some inspiration from that and the idea of doing a fun run. So I'd like to collaborate with you guys and ask you guys if I could first use the runway early in the morning, the Saturday morning. Work with James to close it for just however long we think it might, half an hour to get him down there and back, and then open back up. Maybe a taxiway if we can't do a runway. And on the same day, do an early morning coffee and car show with the same group that wants to join us for Halloween. But again, it's community outreach. Get a whole new group of people out to the airport that don't come to the airport normally, but they say, hey, maybe I can run on the runway. That sounds like an awesome thing. The goal with this is twofold. Get a new part of the community out to the airport and kind of see what we have and enjoy it in a new way. Also, there would be an entry fee, it's like $20 per person to come run this. And that would go to buying a t-shirt. You get a free t-shirt with that. Plus, it would give us a little bit of funding for a Halloween event. Because we've got a couple things that we want to be able to do. I've got a gentleman who's donating the lighting for us, which is great. But if we need to do porta potties, if we're looking at this number of people, I want some options rather than overcrowding the facilities in the terminal. That's kind of where this money would go. That's the full intent. And then if there's any left over, that would fold into any financial donations we get from our Halloween event to go to the ERC, Elizabeth Richardson Center. And then of course our pantry items would go to Passion NWA for Feeding 479. So same goal as last year, community outreach, but 2 events this time. One to help us kind of get to a financial goal, not a financial goal, but a financial, a little bit more feasible to achieve what we want in the Halloween. And so, sort of question you guys, would you guys as a commission approve me trying to get a fun run on the runway for one morning, like 6 to 6:30 on the same day as the car show?
So I think I have a couple questions off of that. One, how many people do you think you're going to get at 6 o'clock in the morning to come do a 5K?
About 100 people.
And how will that affect us? We obviously don't know exactly, but typical Saturday morning, how would that affect us?
That's one of the questions I've got too. Saturday mornings in the winter are different than Saturday mornings in the summer. I need to get, and now's kind of a good time to start getting those metrics. What do we see if we open up at 7? What do we see from 6 to 6:30 before the guys get here? Is it anything? Is it the T-hanger guys? Are they flying at that time? That would be a little bit easier to handle than transient traffic because I can talk to my T-hanger guys. Transit traffic, of course, there would need to be a note issue beforehand to actually say, the time that that the runway is closed for an event. And that's why also I would need it as short a period of time as possible. I don't know my numbers yet, but that's what I'm working on. Tell me what the weekend crew and what are they seeing before they get in.
What other questions do we have here?
I don't see huge safety concerns as long as we do our homework to make sure we can manage transient traffic. Recommendation from me, I think, would be let's get with Mike at the tower. Let's talk to him and try to make sure whatever the plan is that he's really engaged with it, because obviously he's going to have to handle any traffic coming into the airspace at that time and modems and all those types of things. I wouldn't think that closing the runway or even the taxiway for half an hour, 45 minutes would hurt anything from what I see. So,
And I'm not looking for a full 5K. It's like the length of the runway and back, whatever that equals out to, round into something and maybe they normally run. That's not my world. I'm not sure how.
and honest, I mean, this is my opinion, but, you know, those avid runners, right? We've got a lot of avid runners in this area and people that ride bikes, you know, to advertise to them run on a runway, that sounds kind of neat, right? Something that's very unique and something that hardly anybody gets to do. So I think the person that is that avid runner would be very interested in doing something like that. Just don't get to do that.
I agree. So I know that I didn't keep up with it. It's not our airport, but Bentonville did or is planning to do. I think they've already done it. An event where they close their runway down. They actually host a dinner on the runway. So they used to know them well in advance, got everything set up, had whoever catered it, and what I gathered, there was a lot of interest. Like I said, I'm not sure if it's happened or if it's going. But, probably talk with them their history.
Last 2 years. Was that at Soarin' WA when they did that? Did they do that for Soarin' WA when they had it down there?
I just remember they did shut it down.
I remember that. I think it was Soarin' WA when they had the balloon festival down there. They actually shut down the runway. And it was for a very short period of time, like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And they had people where they could, you know, run or bike or whatever down the runway. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of remember that. It was about 4 years ago.
Well, that's good.
It's been a couple years since I've done fun runs, but I think more of the 7 to 8 o'clock time slot is more what's normal with it. And I would think a minimum of an hour.
Okay.
Just the logistics of getting everybody out there when the runway is already closed, instead of having everyone standing on a taxiway ready to step across there. And then afterwards, if they run, they may be a little slower to get off. I would think minimum of an hour. And I think we all like the idea. I don't hear anything negative. So I know you're trying to keep it as least impactful on the airport as possible, but
Yeah.
I would be more for extending it to an hour and giving them plenty of time
Yeah.
to turn that over without it being a big rush.
Right.
And I think if we had a flight coming in of someone going to Children's or whatever, we could delay. We could make a choice on how we do that. I mean, I don't think anyone that's running the race would worry if it's, I think everybody's just fine. They're having to wait for a flight to come in for a medical emergency.
Sure.
That's the only thing I can think of that'd be like but you don't want people circling for an hour.
Right. And if we issue the NOTAM well in advance, then people know it's going to happen. And everybody knows if they've got to get to Springdale, might have to go to Rogers or Fayetteville or something that morning. So we might, we could miss out on a plane or two of fuel sales potentially for an hour. And 7 and 8, that's when we open. That's for an hour after we open. So that's when people are typically used to us being here.
The only one I know that's that early is the turkey trot one. Everyone's going home for Thanksgiving. Okay. So they're kind of getting over with going, but most of them are later, not 6 a.m.
Right.
It might be dark in October at 6 a.m.
Well, the fun run we're thinking about doing in July.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're doing this early to raise money so that we could use that money for the Halloween event that we did, this past year. We want to do the Halloween event again this year, but we want to kind of up our game. And so to raise some funds for that, we were thinking about doing this fund run.
I thought they were closer to the time. Sorry.
So from the car show standpoint, where are you thinking of parking all the cars?
Probably the north side of the ramp and encompassing just in front of the terminal. They want to bring a lot of cars. They're talking about 100 and 120 cars. So we would take all that. I'd only need parking spaces for the runners for that time. So I could utilize part of that ramp again for them to park. So I don't think we've got enough room out here in the main lot to be able to get all those cars in for a fun run.
Then are you planning on roping off an area or something?
Roped off. And that's how our Halloween event was. Everything was roped off. Until I ran out of parking, it was broken off. And then I just had to put them where I put them. But yeah, that's
I for one really like this idea. I think it's a great idea.
okay.
I'd be supportive of it.
So parking is obviously an issue, but we've been brainstorming on different parking solutions. Either one, transporting people back and forth from the Jones Center, kind of like what they did with the John Brown University event that we had up here. Or secondly, we measured between that row of hangars that's 9, 10, and 8. It's 60 foot wide through there, and that's what you need to be able to park people straight in up against the hangars. And so we're kind of exploring a couple different ideas on parking, because we've got room to park people. We just need to be a little bit better at designating the parking.
Would be a Saturday morning. You could use Jones Elementary.
Yeah, so Jones Elementary might be an option as well, especially if it's on a Saturday. During the week, it'd be kind of difficult, but if it's gonna be on a Saturday, we can probably utilize that with, support from the city.
That's a great idea.
If it's in July, 6 o'clock might not be a bad idea.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got our blessing to move forward and get us some more information on it.
Great. I'll keep working on it. I'll put something together. I'd like to have everything in place by next month, maybe the month, well, maybe, yeah, it's gotta be next month, for you guys, because in July, I've got a couple weeks basically to get everything solidified, shirts ordered, coordinate everything with the city. So that won't be too hard. We'll get that done.
You think next month we could probably at least have an idea of maybe what parking could look like?
Yeah, I'll figure out parking. I'll have that.
I think that would help.
Yeah, that's easy. Last thing I have is, thanks for coming out to the airport today. Like we talked about a good while ago now, Summit has wanted to invest in the Springdale Airport in new and unique ways. We've all seen the lounge upstairs, put a lot of work into that. We're very proud of it, and our customers love it. They're extremely happy with it. It's a great moment whenever you give the pilots some keys and they've never been up there, and they come back down a couple hours later and say, that's the best lounge I've been in. And, these people are going to Dallas, so they're going to New York. You've ever seen all the really nice places. So that's high praise. I really appreciate that. And to pass that on to you guys for letting us tackle that monster and provide that for them. Of course, with that conversation was also these rooms. So you see the lounge with this restroom. Also check out our other restroom over here, has a shower in it as well. Everything's done. It's ready to be used. Talking to James, Greg the other day, with the possibility of the military coming in, before we furnish this with our comfortable furniture, we want to offer it to the military as an option for officers for it. Rather than you guys spending any money on partitions in the building, foot traffic, people accidentally walking in on them, and making alternate routes for traffic. We'd like you guys to offer this to the military as a quiet, private, lockable space for them to operate on. A little bit closer to the operational area that they'll be using. They can have whatever codes on the door that they want, so even we wouldn't have access for the time. That way, it's 100% their room. I think that would be attractive to them. So we'd like to go down that road and talk to you guys about it. If we start hearing from the military, making sure that they like the idea. But also, if not, we want to buy our furniture. We want to get our furniture. We bought our furniture. We're going to start letting our overnight guys come in here and use it when they're getting home at 2 or 3 in the morning, and it's not worth driving home in that state. But yeah, that's what we're looking at. That's any way that we can press that for them, make them as comfortable as possible, make them feel welcome here at the airport by providing spaces for them. Let's do it. We're all for it. We want them here.
Have you had any conversations with the military at this point?
No, I haven't heard from anybody in a while. I was hoping one of you guys would bring something.
We'll talk about it here in a minute.
Okay. Well, great. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Mr. Cade, anything for us today?
Well, I just want to give Austin a shout out. on something he came to bottom already. They had a leak in one of the hangars. And in the course of that, they found a hangar that didn't have an airplane in it, have a boat.
Sure.
Truck in it, so we've given them notice to vacate, and they've already made us aware they're gonna get out by the end of June. We'd actually pay rent for the end of the year, so they'll get a 6-month refund. We're gonna have a hangar open up, so,
We're not a storage facility.
right.
All right. Good job. Anything else? All right. James.
Austin's gonna be reaching out to city clerks and get an updated hangar list. That way, let him know who to contact, who might be late on for hangar rent. We had a lightning strike yesterday or the day before. Took out our PAPI regulator, so I'm working on getting quotes for that. Because they said it's too old to put new parts in. So that's not looking cheap, so we'll be filing an insurance claim on that one most likely. The Arkansas Aeronautic stopped by yesterday, he dropped off a $400,000 check. So that was our grant refund from the hangar on the other side over there. So Cody's got that, put it back in the bank.
Nice.
Other than that, I talked to Mike in the tower, they're hopefully gonna start remodeling the tower 1st of June. So he got a few things that he wants us to set up for him. So, work on getting that done for him. That's it.
Awesome. Austin, anything you want to say to the commission?
Well, I would just say, I'm very excited to be here and looking forward to staying venture here with you all.
Well, great. We're excited for you to be here. So let's go, before we get into old business, Greg sent me an email, and I'll send these pictures around too. A friend of his was flying in and took a couple of pictures of the runway after it was painted. And with that, it is done. The grooving and the painting is done, 100%. Now we have to wait about a month, and they'll come back in and seal coat over that. But the oil in the ground comes out of that, and it just takes time before you can seal it. And so that's the reason that we need to wait a month or so to be able to do that. What are we calling, James, our hangar over here?
What is that? Only A and B?
20A and B. So that hangar is completed, and it is occupied, and rent has been paid. So we are moving forward with that. And a couple other hangars on either side of it. We are moving forward with them, getting ready to start building their hangars as well. As James said, the tower we're moving forward on. Hopefully, with everything that we're planning to do on the tower, unless we find new expenses that we don't foresee, we're going to have a little money left over at the end, and we may be able to do some upgrades from an HVAC standpoint for them over there as well. He said they really won't know until the cabinetry comes out because there's wiring in behind. They don't know what they're going to get into until they get that out. So worst case scenario, we're going to get them everything that they wanted. Best case scenario, we're going to get them a little bit more than what they wanted. And I think that was everything from Greg. I'll go in real quick, Cameron, to your question on the guard. So we've met with the guard multiple times. Honestly, I think the best way to recap, to explain, is to say things look good for us in Springdale with the guard. Nothing has been formalized. They still have options open, but I will say we are definitely the front runner. There's a few things that have to be signed, sealed, and delivered. And then the governor has to sign off. So there's a few steps still in place here. But as far as, like Daniel's saying, with this area here for them to put their office, to use as their office space, we visited with them about some different opportunities on airport property with starting out how they could best use the space, and they're very receptive to that. Because obviously it's going to take time to get them in a permanent location. Kind of looking at a 3-phase opportunity for them. But with all that being said, we just don't know anymore right now, a whole lot more right now than we did a few months ago, other than I will definitely say we are the front runner. We just can't announce anything until they let us know they're ready to pull the trigger. And we can't announce anything until once they pull the trigger, the governor gives the okay from her side as well.
If I remember right, one of their requirements was that the hangar, the ATCO building that we're planning on using for them, you have to extend it and make it taller. Is that right?
No, it was more about the door, getting the door opening higher. We wouldn't have to go any higher with the building.
And we can do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Garver's already got some projections together for that. Everything is in place. Everything is in order. It's just a matter of them saying yes.
Government is slow sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's positive.
Lots of positive stuff. That's good.
Mm-hmm. With that, any old business? Comments from commissioners? Thanks for coming, everybody. We're adjourned.